One night behind Joe's fish market, after a cat fight over some fish scraps, I must have been knocked out. When I opened my eyes, I saw a black cat floating in the seated position, floating above a trash can. I thought I was dreaming. Then I asked, "What are you, some kind of circus cat? How do you do that floating thing? I'd like to learn how to do that." The floating cat said, "First you must see what you cannot see yet." Arturo frowned. "What?" "Hear what you cannot hear yet, and feel what you have not sensed yet." "Oh, okay, I'm listening. It's weird." Then the floating cat gracefully, silently floated down. "Good evening, my name is Chance, and it looks like you've been in a cat fight." "Yeah, we always fight for food." "Where are you from?" Arturo asked. "I haven't seen you around these parts." "I'm from Tibet," Chance said. "Is that near New Jersey?" Arturo asked. "Tibet is a little further east from here." Then Chance looked up. A pigeon flew down and landed by Chance. It cooed and softly said, "Chance, the rain is coming. The rain is coming. Be careful, Chance." "Oh, okay, thanks, John." The pigeon fluttered away. "Wait, you just talked to that pigeon?" Arturo asked. "You know his name?" "Of course," Chance said. "That's John." Arturo frowned. "You know a pigeon named John?" "He's been coming to this alley for years," Chance said. "He brings news." Chance smiled and said, "They talk all the time. You just haven't listened." They walked on, and a line of ants marched across the sidewalk. The ants in a chorus sang, "The soil's ready, and the rain is coming. We need to find higher ground." Suddenly, Chance and Arturo could hear their marching footsteps. The ants continued to say, "Seeds are sleeping. We keep building, and we keep marching. No time to waste." Chance nodded. "Thank you, little ones." Arturo blinked. "Did I just hear them talk?" "Yes," Chance smiled. "They said the rain is coming, and they have work to do." Arturo followed, unsure if he'd heard something real or just imagined it. "For now you must rest. Follow me. I know a safe place you can heal." I followed Chance, hobbling along through a maze of alleys, to the roof of one of the tallest buildings in New York City, where neon lights glowed below and where the moon and stars watched us from above. There, at the top of the world, I must have slept for hours, and when I opened my eyes, there was that crazy cat Chance, floating again, above a wooden crate, and I asked him, "What are you doing up there floating like that?" "I am meditating," Chance said. "What is meditating?" asked Arturo. "It means to empty your mind of thoughts and return to your center, the here and now. Meditation is like a New York city street on a holiday, quiet and still." "How do you meditate?" Arturo asked. "Later you will be ready." As I think back at that time I spent with my new friend Chance, I thought he was from another planet, because he could read your mind. He seemed to know what anyone was feeling and thinking. One Sunday morning we were walking through Central Park, and we stopped in front of an older man, sitting on a park bench, and the man was clutching a folded letter in his hand, and Chance said, "Good day, sir. May we share your bench?" The man said yes, and thought to himself, "Now I know I've gone crackers. I'm talking to cats now." The man said, "My name is Anthony. It is a pleasure to meet you two cats." "My name is Chance, and this is my friend Arturo." Chance said, "And you've just come from the hospital, and news isn't good." "How did you know that?" "That's right. The doctor said I have less than a year to live." "I have an idea," Chance said. "Will you join us for tea? I know a charming tea shop in Greenwich Village, just up the street." "Nothing like a hot cup of tea to set you right again," Chance said. They arrived at the tea shop, and as they entered, a bell tinkled. They sat by the window and began talking. The older man, Anthony, said, "You know, I'm not ready to die." Chance turned his head and looked at the old man and said, "Anthony, the tea leaf in your teacup does not choose when it meets the hot water, but it dances as it sinks. In the far, far east where I come from, the word yang means the push, the doing, the daylight of our life. And the word yin is the opposite, which is like your shadow, your sense of rest, yielding. Like the night, death is the final yin, like the final snowfall of winter, but the ground from which all things grow anew again. Anthony breathed the steam from the teacup and felt the warmth in his chest. Anthony said, I always thought courage meant fighting death, till it goes away. Chance said, sometimes courage is letting go, like the night falling on a restless city. The rest is to be held in the quiet. After a long day, this too is living. They sipped their tea with silence between them. Arturo, listening, was learning as he sat nestled between Chance and the older man. Chance said, remember, fear is not a noise to banish. It is a bell reminding you to listen for softer sounds. Most live so loud, they never hear what the heart whispers. The old man spoke. You speak as if you've always been at peace with the unknown. Chance fell silent for a long moment. No, Chance replied, his voice lower than before. When I was a young cat, I lived far from here, high up in the snowy mountains of Tibet, where the world is quiet and the prayer wheels spin in the wind. The Dalai Lama himself would sometimes pause and stroke my fur. He called me his little Bodhi, his little enlightened one. But even then I was restless. Even in the monastery I ran from silence. I feared the stillness would swallow me up. I wanted only to leap and chase and prove myself worldly. One night I left the temple's warmth, chasing a moonbeam down the slopes. I got lost in a snowstorm and nearly died. I curled beneath a snowy pine and closed my eyes as I shivered and trembled in the cold. Hours passed, then a soft hand covered me. One of the monks came to find me. I was grateful and learned the flows of life and death, rushing and resting, always circles back. Even in the coldest night there is a promise of dawn. Life is a balance, Chance said softly. Day and night, doing and resting, the yang and the yin. Even in the coldest, darkest moment, the promise of dawn waits patiently beneath the snow. We must go now, Chance said. Come, Arturo, who was curled up by the older man, one ear listening, as the night began to arrive. The old man said, I kept thinking there would be a moment when it all made sense. I guess I missed it. Chance said, nothing you lived is missing. You keep looking for the life you were supposed to live. This was it. You didn't miss your life. You were there the whole time. In all our lives, we get it right or we get it wrong. It's the same life. Nothing needs to be fixed, not even you. Don't try to finish, just stop holding. You did your life. That's all it ever asked. The old man set down his teacup. He stood up, slowly but steadily. Good night, Chance. Good night, Arturo, he said. Nothing like a hot cup of tea to make you feel right again. He smiled and turned to leave. Above them, the lantern glowed warm. A moth circled it. Drawn by the light, it flew too close. A spark, and the moth fell lifeless to the wooden table. Arturo gasped, it's dead. Chance crouched beside it. He didn't touch it. He just looked. He closed his eyes. He breathed slowly, a soft mist leaving his mouth. The moth's wing twitched. Arturo leaned forward. Did you see that? The moth stirred. Its wings fluttered slowly. It lifted from the table. It hovered for a moment, then took flight, circling above them. Again alive. Arturo stared. How did you do that? I didn't do it. It chose to return. I just reminded it. The old man saw the moth come to life again. He smiled and kept walking out the door, and the moth followed him out unto the open starry sky. The older man put his hands in his pocket and said, good night, see you in the morning. Arturo watched him go. He's not afraid, Arturo said. Chance nodded. No, he's not. Why not? Chance looked at him. Because he's already home. What did you learn, Arturo, listening to our talk in the tea shop? I learned that life don't hand out perfect answers, not in this city at least. But if we can stick together, we can get through the dark parts with a little courage. Very perceptive of you, Arturo. Well done. Chance and Arturo walked away from the tea cafe. It was dark, and Arturo followed Chance through the back streets until they reached the alley and back of an old YMCA, its windows dark and doors chained. The swimming pool locked up for the night. "Why are we here?" Arturo asked. "Cats don't swim." Chance turned his eyes, gleaming green beneath night-starry neon sky. Chance spoke. "Every creature, big or small, carries an old story about what it can't do." They entered the building through the open vent, and Arturo followed Chance to the pool area. Chance walks to the edge of the pool and glances down at the glittering water. "Look at it, Arturo. It's just water. It's not the deep end of the universe." Arturo looks fearful and wraps his tail around his paws. Arturo thought, water swallows cats whole. I've heard the stories. Basement leaks, flooded alleys, not good for cats. Chance dips one paw in the water, then flicks it, sending a small spray up. Chance said, "Those stories never had a teacher. You're just learning how to move in the water without losing yourself." "Everything down here smells of chlorine and people," Arturo said. "I like the firm ground, streets, the alleys. They're safer." Chance leans closer, voice gentler. Part of growing older is learning new edges. The pool, the people, the questions without perfect answers. You do not have to love it. You just have to try it once, with someone who's holding your tail. Arturo looks at Chance, then at the water, then back at Chance again. "Okay," he murmurs, "but if this water tries anything funny, I'm out." Chance's eyes, they lit up. "Then we'll start, one paw at a time, one breath, one stroke. Story of my life, isn't it?" Arturo said. Chance slowly steps down into the water, showing Arturo how to relax and float. He shows him how it's just like walking, keeping his head above the water, doing the cat paddle. Then Chance climbs out, walks back beside Arturo, and convinces him, walking by his side, into the water. And Arturo is scared at first, and he feels an unexpected lightness and feels his body float. He feels the warm water and starts to feel calmer. "Now paddle your legs, like you're walking, quickly," Chance said. Arturo begins to move his legs, his strokes shaky at first, then smoother. Slowly, he starts to conquer his fear and begins to glide, holding his head out of the water. Chance states, "You feared water, yet here you are. What else have you never questioned?" Arturo climbs up the stairs, out of the pool, dripping wet, holding his tail high. Chance shakes the water off his fur and gives Arturo a slow, knowing look. Back in Tibet, they say fear is not your enemy. Fear is the gatekeeper. It stands at the door and asks, "Are you ready?" Not, "Are you perfect?" The wise ones don't wait for fear to disappear. They bow to it, then walk through anyway. You didn't swim because you weren't afraid. You swam because you were afraid, Arturo, and you tried anyway. That's the real lesson. A small smile creeps onto Arturo's face as he looks back at the sparkling blue pool. Chance asked, "What have you learned, Arturo?" Arturo thought for a moment. "Maybe cats can do anything." The next day, Chance and Arturo walked through the city and talked about life and how living can be unexpected and crazy sometimes. Chance and Arturo walked by a liquor store where a young man sat hunched outside the store with his arms around his knees, and his eyes seemed to flicker off and on like a bad light bulb. He seemed to be a misfit, with empty bottles around him. Chance and Arturo sat beside the young man. Chance said, "You're shivering. It's cold out here, in more ways than one." The young man spoke. "Now I can hear cats talking. I think I've finally lost it." "Oh well, it is what it is." "What is your name?" Chance asked. "My name is Robbie," the young man said. Chance said, "My name is Chance, and this is my friend Arturo." "Nice to meet you, Robbie." Chance said, "In every city there's someone who believes the world has locked its gates and thrown away the keys." Robbie stared at the ground. Chance and Arturo listened to Robbie's worries and feelings of not belonging, and Robbie stared at the blurry headlights bleeding across the wet sidewalk as he talked about his troubles. His voice was soft, almost vanishing in the city noise. "You see, I always wanted to be a pilot," he whispered. "You know, fly around the world. Leave all this behind. See everything from above. There, when nobody cares who you are. You're free. But even if I tried, nobody like me could ever get that far. I quit school, and the world isn't built for outsiders like me. Chance's eyes reflected the city's neon, warm and patient. And the world's gates are not as high or as locked as you imagine, Chance said. Chance sat next to him and tilted his head. Dreams are the sky inside you, the mystical cat said. You may think you're earthbound, but your soul remembers flight. Robbie's hands tightened around his knees. Oh, I messed up. Even if I tried, it's just too hard and too late. Where do you start? The highest flight isn't always through clouds, Robbie. Sometimes it's seeing yourself rise above the old stories, the belief that you're unworthy or meant to stay on the ground. Chance said, every living being, be it cat, creature, human, or king, we're all a family on this earth. The grand universe is not divided, except by stories someone made up to create fear and discourage you. True belongings is not a matter of fitting a mold, but of recognizing who you are. All of us are threads in one vast tapestry. You're part of it, important, irreplaceable, even in your pain and confusion. Chance said the world story is often based in fear and illusion, but you can wake up to this and remove yourself from that design. You are the manifestation of the highest version of yourself. The universe plants gifts in you. Yours are waiting for you to claim and develop. The whole world outside might never understand, but the universe has made you with sky in your heart, because it needs you to discover how to fly. Despite everything, Robbie opened his eyes, wide, now thinking possibilities. Chance and Arturo brushed against Robbie's leg, a silent blessing, a promise that he was not alone. Chance said, the sky is not a place for the perfect, it's for those brave enough to leave the ground. Robbie took a crumpled paper flyer from his Levi pocket, a local community center offering beginning flight simulation classes. It's a small imperfect start, but for Robbie it began to feel like a step onto an invisible runway. Chance began to purr. Try, Robbie. Try to think clear. Robbie said, I never thought I'd even try again. His voice trembling but hopeful. But maybe I can learn to fly, even if it's just here in a class. Chance's tail flicked with approval. Every journey begins with one step, Chance said. The next week, Robbie walked toward the community center, the same cracked sidewalk, the same weeds. But when he passed the alley behind Joe's fish market, he looked up, and for just a moment he thought he saw a black cat floating above a trash can. He blinked, and the cat was gone. He kept walking. His feet felt lighter. Chance and Arturo walked through Central Park. Children were flying red, blue, and green kites on a blue front-page sky. And as they were looking up, the clouds were moving slowly, shifting. And as Chance and Arturo stared, they saw the clouds forming the shape of an old man, walking with his hands in his pocket. Arturo, surprised, said, look at that. That looks just like Anthony, the one we had tea with not too long ago. Chance looked up and saw the older man in the clouds and thought it was impossible. It felt as natural as rain. The sky held him there with a strange, tender grace, as if memory itself had climbed into the weather. Chance did not know whether he was seeing a spirit, a sign, or a thought the world had finally decided to show him, but he felt the moment settle in his chest, like a quiet bell in that high silver light. The old man seemed both lost and found, and Chance understood that some presences never truly leave. They simply return to the language of wind, of rain and cloud. Chance and Arturo walked through the city, as if the sky had lent them its silence, the old man still hovering in their thoughts, like a memory that refused to dissolve, and the buildings leaned close as though listening, and the air held the weight of something holy that had just passed through. As it began to rain, and there were light-colored umbrellas on a gray background, and there was oil in the puddles. They were rainbow swirls. A dirty puddle shimmered near the curb, and in the center of that grimy water, that muddy water, a single lotus rose, impossibly white and perfect, as if the earth had decided to reveal its secret where no one expected to look. Chance knelt beside it, his reflection breaking in the puddle like a story splitting into two versions. It grows in the mud, he said softly, and still stays pure. That's what a lotus is. It doesn't push the mud away. It takes it in, drinks from the darkness, and still becomes this. It remembers the sky even while its roots are in the earth. Arturo stared at the flower, then Chance, as if listening to a language he had always known, but never heard spoken aloud. So it's like a miracle that learns to live in the street, he said. Chance smiled, a small, quiet smile that held more than it showed. Yeah, like that. They stood there a moment longer, the lotus holding its shape in the dirty water, lighting the puddle from within, as if it carried a small sun inside its petals. The city hummed around them, indifferent and beautiful, and both of them felt that something had just, been explained to them, without many words, as if the world itself had whispered a secret meant for them alone. Then they walked by a subway station and decided to enter with the lotus in their minds, the old man in the clouds, and the feeling that the world was more than it seemed, layered with invisible hands and forgotten spirits waiting to be seen. As Chance and Arturo walked down the subway staircase, they saw a black-haired, 20-something girl with sadness in her eyes. She was just sitting there on the bench as if waiting for someone. Arturo told Chance that he felt he wanted to talk to her. Trust your kindness, Chance told Arturo. Arturo took a breath and stepped and brushed Lily's leg and purred. Hello, my name is Arturo, and this is my friend, Chance. Lily let out a short, dry laugh. Great, now I'm talking to cats. Just what I needed. Lily's my name, she said, and I'm done with this life. Arturo didn't argue. He didn't try to fix her. He just said, I know that feeling. Lily looked at him, then really looked at him. Yeah, Arturo said, I was born in an alley behind Joe's Fish Market on 32nd Street, raised by street cats. That means trouble, so I've got a good instinct about trouble. Sometimes I had cool cats in my life. They helped me. Who was the most important person in your life, Lily? Arturo asked. She stared at the subway tracks. Her voice was a whisper. My father, but he died a long time ago. Then Chance seemed to glow and shimmer. He breathed slowly. There was a gust of wind that rushed through the subway. The lights flickered, and a man appeared out of nowhere. Not a shadow, not a ghost, just a man, her father. He looked, and she remembered him. Same worn jacket, same tired smile, same way of standing there with his hands in his pockets, and a smile she recognized. Lily froze, and she said, Dad, but how? He smiled. Hey, my little one. Tears fell from her eyes. She couldn't help but hold him like a little girl, and she says, I missed you so much, Daddy. I know, I missed you too. He said, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry I left you alone. She shook her head. It wasn't your fault. You were sick. I know, he said, but I should have been there for you. I should have left you something to hold on to. You left me the guitar, she whispered, the one you taught me to play. He smiled. You still playing that thing? Sometimes, she said, when I can't sleep. Good, he said. Keep playing, and don't you dare stop. Did you paint that on your jacket? Yes, Lily said. I'm still making jewelry. Good, he said. It's good stuff. Really good stuff, Lily. She nodded. Tears kept falling. I just got so tired, Daddy. I got so tired of being alone. He reached out his hand. It was warm, real. You're not alone. Not ever. I'm here. She looked at her father. But you're not real. You've passed on. That's my smart, talented girl. I'm proud of you. I've got to go, but I'll be listening. He began to vanish like smoke in the wind, and the lights flickered in the subway. But he was still smiling. I love you, little one. I love you, Daddy. He was gone. Chance stopped glowing, bowed his head as if a blessing had been delivered. Lily stood there, tears in her eyes. But she was breathing, and the train arrived, and the lights came back on. And she said, "He used to always encourage me to do my art and music. He said I always had something beautiful to give to the world." Arturo brushed against her leg and purred and said, "Come, let's go sit down." Arturo noticed her colorful jacket and the necklace. "You made those." Lily looked down at her rings and her jewelry and said, "Yes, but nobody cares." Lily was quiet, then softly said, "When I make art, not thinking about it, it's the only thing that makes me feel happy. But who cares?" Arturo said, "Maybe your art isn't just for you. Maybe it's for the people who feel like misfits too, the ones who don't know they're not alone. When you make something beautiful, Lily, you're giving them a mirror. You're telling them you're not broken, you're seen. That's why it makes you feel alive, because you're not just making art, you're making home for people who've lost theirs. I know the world feels crazy right now. I know it feels like everything is against you. But I want you to know that you mean something special to the world. And you don't have to be perfect. But because you're here, that's important. Because you're here. You're alive, and that matters. The world needs people like you, the ones who feel deeply, who see the truth, even when it hurts. You don't have to carry it all. You don't have to fix it all. You just have to keep going, one step, one breath, one small thing at a time. That's enough. You're enough. Look, give yourself a second chance. You don't have to do everything today. Just one thing, one small thing that feels like you. One thing that reminds you that you're still here. That's enough. The subway station was quieter now, and the rush of the evening crowd thinning. Lily sat on the bench. Her hands were no longer trembling. She looked at Arturo and Chance, who sat beside her, calm and steady. "I don't know what to do next," she said softly. Arturo didn't try to fix it. He just said, "You don't have to know everything. Just do one thing, one small thing." Lily looked at her hands. "I think I'll show my jewelry to that little shop on 4th Street. Arturo nodded. "That's good first step. And maybe I'll talk to my cousin again, just to talk." Arturo said, "That's even better." Lily took a deep breath. "I'm always so scared of everything. But you're still here. That's what matters," Arturo said. She looked at him, really looked at him. "You're not going to stay, are you?" Arturo shook his head. "No, but we'll be around." Lily nodded. She reached out and gently touched Arturo and Chance's head. "Thank you," she said. Arturo just purred. Arturo and Chance began to walk away. They didn't look back. Lily watched them go. She stood up, picked up her bag, and started walking toward the exit. She didn't run. She didn't rush. She just walked one step at a time, and as she stepped out into the street, everything seemed brighter. The air felt different, lighter, like something had shifted. She took out her phone and opened her camera. She took a photo of her jewelry, the one with the shells and glass, and she typed a caption, "Made with my own hands, still here." After Lily left the subway station, Arturo and Chance walked together through the quiet tunnels, the hum of the city fading into the background, and Arturo didn't say anything. He was still thinking about Lily, about the way she looked at her jewelry and the way she admitted she was scared, but still chose to move forward. Chance broke the silence. "You saw her," he said softly. Arturo looked at him. "I just talked to her." "No," Chance said. "You saw her. You saw the art. You saw the pain. You saw her joy. You saw the part of her that was still alive, and you didn't try to fix it. You just reminded her it was there." Arturo was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I felt it too. That thing inside her, the part that wanted to keep going." Chance nodded. "That's because you feel it yourself too. You've been lost for a long time, Arturo. You've been broken, and you've been ready to give up. But you didn't. You kept going, and now you're helping her to do the same." Arturo looked at Chance and asked, "How did you bring her father to life?" Chance didn't look at him. "I didn't bring him back. He was always there. Then why couldn't we see him?" Chance met his eyes. Because you weren't ready. Now you are. He turned and started walking. Come, the world's still turning. Arturo looked down. I wish I could have done more. You did everything, Chance said. You showed up. You listened. You reminded her that she's worth something. That's more than most people do. He paused, then added, You didn't just help her. You helped yourself, too. Every time you reach out, you grow. Every time you care, you become more of who you are meant to be. Arturo looked at Chance, really looked at him. I didn't know I could do that. Chance smiled. You didn't know, but you did, and you will again and again, and that's what it means, to be more than an alley cat. As Chance and Arturo walked out of the subway, they noticed cloudy skies and there were rivers of rain in the streets. The pigeon was right. Rain did arrive, and it fell in sheets, blurring the lights, drowning the sound of the city under a roar of water. The gutters had overflowed. Trash floated in brown swirls, and the air smelled of wet concrete and storm. As they walked, they could hear high, desperate meowing. They followed the sounds around the corner, and in the narrow alley behind Joe's fish market, the water had risen high, and two kittens sat on a small wooden crate, huddled together, trembling, their fur soaked and their eyes wide with fear. The crate bobbed in, the current drifting slowly toward the storm drain, and the neighborhood cats stood helpless on the edges, big tomcats, scarred and tough, younger cats with flattened ears. They all watched, but none moved. It's too deep, one cat said. Those kittens will have to wait it out, another said. The kittens meowed again, softer this time, and one slipped a paw over the edge of the crate and nearly lost his balance. His sister pressed against him, crying. Arturo stopped. He looked at Chance, and Chance didn't speak. He just nodded. Arturo knew he had to help. He stepped into the water. The cold hit him like a shock, but he didn't hesitate. He waded deeper, then began to swim. His head held high, his eyes fixed on the kittens. The current pushed hard against him, but he moved through it. Stay brave, he called to the kittens. Keep your eyes on me. You're not alone. The kittens looked at him terrified and hopeful all at once. Can you jump? Arturo asked gently. The smaller kitten shook his head. Yes, Arturo said in a warm and steady voice. Not because you are not afraid, because you are. He came close enough for them to smell the river on Arturo's back. When I tell you to jump on my back, jump and I'll carry you home. The kittens looked at each other. The water swelled below them. The mother cat cried from the side of the alley, pacing helplessly on a narrow edge. Now Arturo said, Jump! They leapt, and for one breathless instant, their tiny bodies hung in the air like sparks. Then they landed on Arturo's back, claws gripping wet fur, their little hearts hammering against him, and Arturo gave a short grunt, adjusted himself, and began to paddle back through the flood. The current pushed hard against him, but he kept going, head up, eyes forward, breath steady. Hold tight, he told them. You're doing fine. The cats watching had gone silent. Even the big toms, the ones who had always carried themselves like rulers of the alley, stood motionless at the edge of the water. One of them, broad-shouldered and gray in scars, lowered his head in respect as Arturo neared the ledge where the kitten's mother waited. She reached down as soon as he was close, and Arturo gave a final surge, lifting his back, just enough for the kittens to scramble to safety. She pressed them to her chest, trembling with relief. Arturo climbed out of the water and stood dripping in the rain. Breathing hard, fur plastered to his frame, he was small beside the massive toms, small beside the ruined alley, small beside the storm, yet he seemed larger than all of it. One of the older cats, the biggest of the toms, gave a single, slow nod. Not applause, not words, something deeper, recognition. The others shifted and lowered their heads just slightly, as if bowing to something they had not known existed until that moment. From the shadows of the fire escape, Chance watched in silence, his eyes shone in the rain, reflecting both pride and a quiet sadness, as if he had just seen the pupil become the teacher. Arturo did not look up right away. He only watched the kittens nuzzle to their mother's fur, safe at last. Then he turned his face to the sky and let the rain wash over him like a blessing, and for the first time his cat life seemed to him not as a life of cats struggling to survive, but as a being who had chosen courage when fear would have been easier. He knew something had shifted in him, something changed. The alley was quiet again, and Arturo sat at the top of the building with Chance. Arturo's fur still damp, breathing hard. He felt different, lighter, stronger, but also shaken. His heart still raced from the rescue, from the water, from the fear he'd faced. Chance sat beside him, calm as ever. "You did good," Chance said softly. Arturo didn't answer right away. He was still feeling the rush of the rescue, the fear, the relief. Now Chance said, "It's time to learn stillness." Arturo looked at him. "Stillness? You've learned courage," Chance said. "Now you'll learn peace. You've learned to act. Now you learn to meditate, to be still." Arturo nodded slowly. "Okay." Chance closed his eyes. "Sit with me. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. Let the noise fade. Let the fear fade. Let the story fade." Arturo sat. He closed his eyes. He breathed. At first, his mind raced. The kittens, the water, the story began to fade. Arturo stayed still. He breathed. He felt the air around him, the pulse of the city, the quiet between heartbeats. Chance continued, "Meditation is not about stopping your thoughts, Arturo. It's about watching them pass like clouds in the sky, like leaves on the water. You don't hold them. You don't fight them. You let them go." Arturo listened. He breathed. He felt his body relax. Now Chance said, "Feel the space around you, the air, the night, the city. You are part of it. You are not separate from it." Arturo felt it. The city was not outside him. It was inside him. The pulse of the streets, the hum of the lights, the quiet between heartbeats. It was all a part of him. And for the first time, Arturo said, "I feel connected to it all." Chance opened his eyes, golden and warm. "That's the beginning. Meditation is not something you do once. It's something you must become. Every day, every breath, every moment." "Thank you," Arturo said. Chance smiled. "You're welcome. Now you're ready for the next step." Arturo looked at him. "What's the next step?" Chance's eyes glowed softly. "You'll know when you're ready in a moment for the next step." Arturo sat there, breathing, feeling the night around him. He felt the quiet. He felt the peace. He felt the beginning of something new. He had learned courage, now learning stillness, and soon he would learn to levitate. Chance said softly, "Feel the space beneath you. Feel the wood of the wooden crate you're sitting on. Feel the air. Feel all that you are and all that you are not. They are all one. You are part of it." Arturo focused. He felt the wood beneath him. He felt the air around him. He felt the quiet between heartbeats. Now Chance said, "Imagine you are light, not heavy. Light like a leaf, like a cloud, like a star." Arturo imagined it, and he felt lighter, and his paws felt less solid, and the wood beneath him suddenly gave way. "Breathe," Chance said, "and rise." Arturo breathed. He didn't try to move. He didn't force it. He just breathed, and then he rose, and Chance glowed like before in the subway. Arturo's paws left the wood. His tail hung loose. His fur shimmered in the moonlight. He was hovering, levitating, just inches above the wooden crate. He opened his eyes, surprised. He looked down at his paws. He looked at Chance, smiling. "I'm floating," Arturo whispered. "You're meditating," Chance corrected gently. "Floating is just what happens when you stop carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders." Arturo stayed still. He breathed. He felt the air holding him. He felt the night around him. He felt lighter than he had ever felt in his life. "I feel different," Arturo said. Arturo floated down. He looked at Chance, his eyes wide. "I can't believe it." Chance smiled. "You believed. That's what mattered." Arturo sat there, Breathing, feeling the night around him, he felt the quiet and he felt the peace. He felt the beginning of something new, and he had learned courage, and he had learned stillness, and now he had learned to rise, to meditate. Chance placed a paw on his shoulder. "You're ready," he said softly. Arturo looked at him. "Ready for what?" Chance's eyes glowed. Softly. "To teach." "You met me in the alley a time ago," Chance said. "You were just an alley cat. That's what you told me. You said, 'It is what it is.' But Arturo, it's always more than what it is. Your circumstances are not fixed. Your identity is not limited, and transformation is always possible. It's the moment you become what you have yet to be. You listened to the old man in the park. You sat with him in silence. You felt his fear and you felt his peace. You learned that death is not an end. You learned to see what you cannot see." And Arturo looked down. "You went into the swimming pool. You swallowed your fear. You learned that the water doesn't take you unless you fight it. You learned to flow, and you learned to feel what you have yet to feel, and you learned to trust." Chance continued. "You went into the subway. You met Lily. You saw her art. You saw her pain. You reminded her that she was worth something. You learned to be what you have yet to be, a healer." Arturo's heart lightened. "You went into the storm," Chance said. "You swam to the kittens. You rescued them. All the alley cats saw you. They respected you. They bowed to you. You learned that courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting in spite of it." Arturo looked up. "And now you stand here. You're not just an alley cat. You are not small. You are not all of these past ideas. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. Fighting for scraps and survival was your past. Now you're a teacher, a healer, a light." Arturo was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I didn't know I did all that." Chance smiled. "Now you do." The roof at the top of the world was quiet. The air was still. Arturo sat at the edge of the roof, legs dangling over the city, and the sun was just beginning to rise, painting the sky in soft gold and pink. Chance sat beside him, silent for a long moment. Neither spoke. Then Chance's form began to shimmer, his edges blurred, like smoke in the wind. Chance's body grew lighter, translucent. The morning light passed through him. "Where are you going?" Arturo asked Chance. Chance's voice was soft now, like a whisper on the wind. "Look for me in the quiet," Chance said, "in the space between heartbeats, in the wind, in the rain, in the stillness. I'm not gone. I'm just in the everywhere." Arturo watched, breathless, as Chance slowly vanished, like the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland, leaving only a smile, then nothing. But the glow lingered, a soft golden light, like the residue of a star. It remained in the air where Chance had been. It shimmered, then faded into the night. Arturo sat there alone, but not lonely, and he felt calm, open, ready, nowhere and everywhere. Then the wind brushed against his face, gentle, like a hand on his shoulder. "You did good," it whispered, and the wind lifted him, just an inch, then two. Then he was floating. He didn't fall. He didn't fear. He rose. And as he rose, he heard Chance's voice one last time. Clear as a bell. "You are the white lotus. Now rise." Arturo smiled, and he rose higher. The city was the muddy pond, and he was rising above it. Weeks later, after Chance vanished, Arturo was different now, calmer, stronger. A stray cat had come into his view. It stood at the mouth of the alley, and he looked scared, thin, like he'd been running for a long time. Arturo watched him from the shadows, and he didn't move. He didn't speak. He just waited. The new cat stepped forward. "I heard this place is safe." Arturo stepped out. "It is, but first you must see what cannot be seen." The small cat frowned. "What cannot be seen?" Arturo smiled. "The things that matter most. The wind that speaks, the birds that know, the ants that build, lotus that rises." Then the kitten looked around. "I don't see any of that." Arturo nodded. "You will when you learn to listen." He sat down on the crate, and the kitten sat beside him. For a long moment neither spoke. Then Arturo said, We are alley cats, but always more. The kitten looked at him. What? Arturo nodded. Alley cats know how to survive. They know how to hide. They know how to fight, but they also know how to listen, how to trust, and how to rise, and how to learn. The kitten was quiet. I don't know how to do that. Arturo smiled. You do. You just forgot. Like I did. He pointed to the sky. See that pigeon? Up there on the high wire? The kitten looked and said yes. Arturo closed his eyes. He listened. Then he opened them. It says the rain is coming. It says you're ready. For what? Arturo smiled. You'll learn, just like I did. Arturo stood up. Come on. Where are we going? The kitten asked. Arturo started walking to the water, to the wind that speaks, to the lotus that rises. The kitten followed. As they walked, Arturo said, Chance taught me how to see a new world. Now I teach you. The kitten looked at him. Who's Chance? Arturo smiled. You'll meet him in the wind, and the birds and the ants and you. The kitten was quiet. Then he said, I'm lost. Arturo turned and said, so was I. But fear is just the mud. You're the white lotus. You will rise. The kitten looked at him, really looked. Then he nodded. They kept walking. Alley cats, but so much more.
In every little moment, miracles can find you. Miracles are always around you. And if you stop and notice, they surround you with love. Each and every morning, the bluebird sings a song, waiting for the promise of spring. And just like you and I, the bluebird sings because she feels the sun's love on her wings. Just like the first time love first touched you. Oh, you can be like Superman. You can move mountains. You can be the hero. There are miracles in you. And when you're alone and doubting, that's the time for glorious shouting. You can make your dreams come true, because in every little moment there's a hero in you. In every little moment, you can be the magic you want to see. It begins with you and me. Quiet little moments, quiet little choices. You can be the hero you want to be. There's no river too wide, no mountain you can't climb. Oh, you can be like Superman. You can move mountains. You can be the hero. There are miracles in you. And when you're alone and doubting, that's the time for glorious shouting. You can make your dreams come true, because in every little moment there's a hero in you. In every little moment, there's a hero in you. In every little moment, in every little moment.